Hello and welcome to JitsLab Limelight of the Week. This week we're going to be profiling one of the most badass grapplers in the jiu-jitsu world right now, Andre Galvao. For those who aren't sure who Andre Galvao is, it's this guy with the gi and not this guy with the suit. Alright, let's take a look at some of his fights. We've taken the liberty of adding his matches from the Pan Ams and the Worlds that both happened very recently. So let's look at his reports. These two pie charts show the moves that Galvao is completing or attempting on his opponents, as well as what his opponents are completing or attempting on Galvao. So for instance, this means that about 65-66% of the time, Galvao is completing or attempting sweeps on his opponents, where his opponents are throwing a plethora of moves at him. So Galvao is doing sweeps and guard pulls for the majority, mainly moves that are more point driven rather than by chokes or submissions, and his opponents are just throwing everything at him, but they're trying to pass his guard for a majority of their actions. So these are telling of a face value of what he's doing, but let's look at a more insightful graph, a stacked action bar graph. What this shows is the total amount of moves, or the rate of moves that are being completed by Galvao, that he's attempting or threatening with, where his opponents are completing on him, and that his opponents are attempting or which Galvao is able to defend. So this is from both Pan Ams and from the Worlds. Now what you can see is that there's a lot of attacking. For instance, what this means is that in the first 30 seconds, Galvao is essentially completing a guard pull 13% of the time, and in the first minute, from 30 seconds to a minute, Galvao is landing a sweep 25% of the time. So just a lot of attacking, a lot of guard pulls, a lot more sweeps, back mounts, etc. Now, I think this one is actually more interesting of what is he attempting or threatening with. You see a lot of green. That's just what your eyes are probably noticing first. This means that from 4 minutes to 4:30, Galvao is threatening guard passes 63% of the time. Now take a look at that 63 versus what his opponents are doing at this time, which is 13. His opponents are essentially completing stuff 13% of the time, but he's just attacking 63% of the time. At max, he's hitting stuff in the first minute, about 13% are sweeps, takedowns, guard passes, guard pulls. About 75% of the time, he's doing some type of attacking in the first minute, whereas his opponents are doing it majority about 25% of the time of what their rate of attacking is on him. So take a look at this. We notice that when we see all this attacking that he's doing, his opponents aren't really able to do anything. When he's attacking, nothing is happening. Or when he's attacking, the rate of moves lowers, it subsides, because they just have to defend everything he's doing. So that's a majority of his game. He just basically overwhelms his opponents with attacks and attacks and attacks that they can't even do anything. Now, let's look at how he did specifically with the World Tournament. If I go to April 16 through 17, I think that's when it happened. Okay, so now we took the Pan Ams out of it, which is what he wanted to look at the Worlds. We see a very similar pattern, that he is basically completing sweeps 40% of the time in the first minute, and he's attacking with or threatening guard passes throughout the middle of the match. So that means his cardio is fantastic, and he's just able to keep going and going and going, and he really picks up the fight toward the middle of the match. His opponents are completing stuff about 20% of the time, it looks like, in terms of chokes and guard passes and takedowns. We notice a very similar trend, though, that when he is attacking, opponents are not really doing much on this front. So we see those two trends happening. Now, let's look specifically at what happened when he fought Rodolfo Vieira, which he lost. I labeled that on the 17th just so it can filter it out. Now you see this part up here? This means that there's no information, meaning he did not complete or attempt anything on Rodolfo. There's no attacking. And when he wasn't attacking, what happened was Rodolfo was able to get the guard pass at 2:30 and was able to choke him out about a minute later. So we see that when Galvao is attacking, his opponents can't really do anything and they have to defend. But in this particular match, when he did not attack, that's when Rodolfo was able to capitalize and to throw more attacks to Galvao, eventually pass his guard and choke him out. Okay? So this is part 1 of our JitsLab Limelight. Tune in for more, where we'll go over more of Galvao's game in deeper profile. Alright, thank you very much.